and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about PIXY's villain, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the lyrics and the music video to see what they can tell us about this new chapter of the story and its connections to their previous ones. Villain is a song that announces PIXY's rebirth as they become the villains of their own story and swear to destroy the good side of themselves that is still fighting to come out. Now, according to what the title of the album can tell us, Villain is the title track of the first episode of a new series called Dark City. As we see in a second, the concept of the video is drastically different in comparison to their previous title tracks. In the past, they had a fairy tale concept where PIXY were literal pixies roaming around the woods, while now they're a gang of outlaws in a present-day Dark City. This contemporary twist already gives us the impression that PIXY are undergoing a literal rebirth, but even if the concept is very different, we can already tell that the beginning of this new series is directly connected to the ending of the previous one. If you guys are interested in a full breakdown of the first 3 chapters of the story, I already made a full summary that you can check out in order to catch up with PIXY's lore, but on a general level, the premise of the story is pretty much as follows. Once upon a time, the PIXY were a group of fairies who were born without wings, and because of that, they were shunned and mocked by the other fairies. One day, however, Tajong finds a broken wing in the woods, and following this event, a red-eyed witch starts haunting her dreams, tempting her with the promise of new wings. All she has to do is to bring the witch the broken wing before the rising of the red moon, but as Tajong and the others set off on their quest, they gradually turn on each other because the witch starts messing with their heads. Once innocent and loving, the pixies start to change and become more greedy and manipulative. The witch's spell is gradually tainting them with the promise of the very thing that they always wanted, and the one member that is the most affected by this change is none other than Tajong herself. Since the witch promises that she'll give her the shiniest wings, the temptation makes her addicted to the point of no return, even if the witch herself keeps on asking for more and more. From wanting the broken wing, now the witch wants a sacrifice, so Tajong starts lying and turns the others against Dia, who in turn is actually painted as a traitor. As we saw in Let Me Know, for instance, the Pixie throw Dia off a cliff, and even if she eventually survives, the damage has been done because the pixies turned on each other and the temptation twisted their purity for good. As we saw in chapter 3, the pixies get bewitched, and as they reach the end of the forest, they find a door through which they meet a big butterfly. This butterfly transforms into a fairy without a wing, so the broken wing that they found was never theirs to begin with because it belonged to the entity imprisoned beyond the door. In the last chapter, the pixies succumbed to their greed and ended up being bewitched by an evil entity that made them addicted with their temptation, so with Villain we see the result of this curse because now the pixies are the villains of their own story. As they say themselves, this is a new life that is set in a completely different location, but the pixies themselves don't remember who they are because they lost their memories as soon as they were reborn. In the title track, we see that pixies are now vicious villains who do what they want and aren't afraid of the opinion of others, but as we see in the video, the main victims of the girls are none other than the girls themselves, who in turn get shot without mercy by their evil counterpart. Now, even if the video portrays this event as something that is happening in real life, the song might actually foreshadow that what we're seeing might be a dream or an illusion that is actually happening inside of their heads. If we take a look at the lyrics, for instance, Villain tells us that when they look at themselves in the mirror, they don't really know who is their real self. As they do so, moreover, they also hear a voice calling them and telling them to wake up. She tells them that they don't have to forget her and that she's still right there. And even if we don't really know who is talking, in the video we see that the one who sings the lyrics is none other than the good version of Dia who is about to get shot. This could imply that even if for now the pixies are bewitched and the villains have taken over, the good pixies are still trapped inside of themselves trying to get out. The reason why the villains want to kill the good pixies is because the only way to be reborn is for the good side of them to die once and for all. As we see with Sadbull in the video, the only way for the villains to be reborn is for the pixies to die, and by the end of the title track it seems that the villains might actually be successful. In the bridge, for instance, the lyrics are now from the perspective of the villains. They promise to chew them up, spit them out, and slowly kill them, and in the video the villains accomplish this task, thus fulfilling what they promise in the Swan song. Bear in mind, back in Addicted, the video showed us that as the pixies were falling into temptation, they were being chained and buried underneath. Even if by the end they were cursed, however, they opened their eyes, so the good pixies are not dead just yet, but rather they are trapped. In Dark City, however, the bewitched version of the girls have seemingly taken over and successfully destroyed a good side of themselves that was still lingering inside, but by the end the final scene also foreshadows that the story is not over just yet. Even if the villains completed their massacre, we see a figure slowly turning around as a single feather introduces her arrival. Now at this point we don't know who this person is, but judging by her profile, she kinda looks like Tia. This would also mirror the final scene of Let Me Know, with her turning around right at the end, but another possibility might actually be that she's a character that we met already a couple of times. You see, since this figure is introduced on screen by a single feather, she might actually be the fairy with one wing that the Pixies found at the end of the forest. So far we don't really know much about this character, but what we do know is that she can shapeshift into a butterfly and she was seemingly deprived of her wing because of the witch. Since in the fairy tale concept the butterflies were positive guides that often protected the pixies, maybe the fairy with one wing might be the one to help the pixies getting their goodness back. If this is the case, maybe the curse of the witch might be undone and the good pixies might actually come back to life, but to know if this is the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.